The United States, in a fit of helpless rage, began cutting off access or threatening to cancel the ability to use its payment system. People began looking for alternatives, and they found it.
This biting remark came during the July 9th briefing, where Russia's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Zakharova was asked to comment on Donald Trump's proposal to impose a 10% tariff on any country that supports the BRICS policy framework. Let's not forget, in November, Trump also threatened 100% tariffs if BRICS moved forward with plans to create a new currency to replace, in his words, the mighty US dollar.
During his address to the plenary session in Rio de Janeiro, President Vladimir Putin mentioned the figure 90%, which is the share of national currencies used in mutual transactions with BRICS countries and partner states.
Essentially, Trump is now shocked that the world isn't blindly obeying anymore. Trump seems genuinely puzzled that nations might want to escape the financial roller coaster of Washington's whims. But really, if you're using access to global financial systems as a weapon, you shouldn't be surprised when your targets start building their own doors.
As for the declining role of the US dollar in the international currency system, this slide was initiated by former President Joe Biden. He demanded that certain countries must be excluded from international U.S. payments establishments. It is Joe Biden and his team who demanded that Russia, which maintains broad trade and economic ties across the world, be cut off from that system. It is Biden who threatened to switch other countries off from that mutual payment systems. Why are they surprised that these countries don't want to fall victim to Washington's or any other's international blackmail, and that they are looking for alternative payment methods?
Facts speak louder than tariffs. The move toward de-dollarization wasn't some anti-American conspiracy. It was a direct response to Washington's use of the dollar as a political weapon. You can't burn bridges and then complain that people are building boats.
We conduct trade on the basis of international law and bilateral agreements. This is legal trade, which didn't cause any complaints before. But they see it as an obstacle, which is why it has become the object of U.S. attacks, sanctions, and what amounts to a trade war against our country. Seething with impotent fury, the United States started cutting off or threatening to cut off countries from that payment system. People started looking for an alternative and found it.
Washington expected the world to just take the punishment and say thank you. Instead, the world started asking, what gives America the right to decide who gets to trade, pay, or invest? And they're not just asking, they're building systems that don't require permission slips from the U.S. Treasury.
The decreasing role of the U.S. dollar in the international currency system is a direct result of President Biden and his team's actions. That's why it is for the current U.S. administration to deal with this problem. I would recommend them, first, to assess their losses and, second, to file a lawsuit. The international community, let alone the global majority, has nothing to do with this.
If the dollar is sinking, maybe it's because the U.S. decided to drill holes in its own boat, then blame the passengers for getting wet.
The share of mutual settlements in national currency and direct correspondent relations is growing everywhere. However, neither BRICS nor any other international association where Russia is a member is considering completely moving away from the US dollar or other countries' currencies. All these deliberations about a hypothetical single global currency don't stand up to criticism. It's as if there are no other currencies, and as if they have not proved their worth. We call for a multi-currency world, where all countries and economic operators have equal access to the payment instruments needed for conducting legitimate commercial activities based on law, both international law and national legislations.
The BRICS countries aren't trying to break the system. They're just refusing to be locked inside it. The future isn't about replacing the dollar with one new king of the hill. It's about flattening the hill, so everyone gets a fair shot. The Western order is singing its last tune, and the rest of the world isn't dancing along. Subscribe to the channel for real insights into global affairs, direct quotes, and independent commentary.